You have the Commanders and the Lions. Are you feeling the upset? What is Vegas saying about this game? This is a fun game to look into.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
exciting.
I have the spread calculated right the same as Vegas. I have a 9.4 and they have a 9.5. So I think their spread is accurate. Um, the Commanders overall were ranked number 9 coming into the playoffs. Lions were the number 1 ranked team. Um, I do give the Commanders a shot here. The Lions have a poor pass defense. So if you look at their combined ranking, it's like 28. I think it was, if I was not mistaken here. Yep, 28. So if Jaden Daniels can pass on their defense, yeah, I give them a good chance. Now, I'm a little iffy on that too because the Lions are really good at running the ball, and the Commanders are not good at stopping the run. So if the Lions are going to run up and down the field on you all day, it's going to be a long day for the Commanders. So can they slow them down? Can they stop the run at all? I haven't seen anybody be able to do it really against the Lions. The Lions defense has been injured and they've been a little bit slower, but that offense against any team that can't stop the run has been dominant. So I think they got Gibbs back now. They got Montgomery. I'm sorry, Montgomery was hurt. Now he's back healthy. So yeah, no. Now, if you look at just their combined offense and defensive ranking, it's fairly close. The Lions are first, and the Commanders. I call them the commies sometimes. The Commanders are fourth, and on defense, the Lions are 15th, and then the Commanders are 13th. So it's pretty even. You add those up, and it's a very, very even matchup on combined defense, combined offense. Now, on total offense, when you look at yards and points, there again, it's really even. And on total defense, it kind of offsets. So the Lions are really good at not giving up points. They're ranked 7th, but they're not great at giving up yards. So they're ranked 20th in yards. The Commanders, they're a little bit better at giving up points, or I'm sorry, giving up yards at 10, and points they're not quite as good at 18. So you got the Lions as the better point defense, and the Commanders as a better yard defense, basically. So that kind of offsets there. It's kind of like strength on strength. And when you get down to the passing offense versus the passing defense, obviously that's where you have like your one big advantage for the Commanders. So the passing defense, 29 for the Lions. I think I said 28 later, but it's actually 29. And the passing defense, though, for the Commanders is ranked number 3. So that's interesting. The Commanders have a really good pass defense. I didn't know that really in the regular season, but when I was doing the stats for this game, I was like, wow, that's pretty good. But their rushing defense is at 27. So really good at stopping the pass, bad at stopping the run. We'll see how that plays out. The Commanders on passing offense are 16. Lions are number 2. And then rushing offense, Commanders are 3 and the Lions are 5. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. And, I think in that first game the Commanders played against the Bucs, they were doing a lot of ball control, a lot of running, a lot of controlling the clock, a lot. So, my cousin and I, we talked about the over-under in this game, and we were really wanting, if the number got up to like 56 and a half, we were wanting to maybe go under. But it was right around 55 and a half. So it's a little iffy on an indoor game because you do have 2 good quarterbacks. The Lions pass defense is a little weak. So you see the potential where it could turn into a shootout because I think the Commanders may not be able to stop the run and the Lions start going up and down the field. And I think the Lions might have a hard time stopping the pass because Jaden Daniels can get outside the pocket and throw balls and all that. So they might be able to move the ball just fine as well. And you have a shootout. Like very, very, very easily could happen. So I didn't touch the over-under in this game because I think it could go both ways. Yeah, obviously if you're going to put your money on somebody, I'd put it on the Lions. My cousin, he's got the Lions to cover the spread. He thinks they'll do it indoors at home. I'm going to keep my money away from this game. That's what I decided. I really don't have a bet on this game. I did do like a parlay where I parlayed a touchdown for Amon-Ra St. Brown with Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry. He's from the Indianapolis area. I know that guy. He's a straight killer. He's a dog. I got him a touchdown. I have Amon-Ra a touchdown, and I have Jaden Daniels 2 touchdowns. I had that in a parlay, mainly because the prices on all those are very good. Like when you look at the odds, because like if you take, say you take Goff for 2 touchdowns, you're going to get like minus 200, minus 250, minus 150 even on that. But with Jada Daniels, you're going to get like plus 100 for 2 touchdowns. And if it turns into a shootout, he's probably going to get those 2 touchdowns. And if he gets 2 of them, there's a good chance one of them goes to Scary Terry, and a very good chance that Amon-Ra St. Brown breaks one at any time for a touchdown. Goff's probably going to get a couple as well, especially if it turns into a shootout. So if you're looking for a parlay touchdown-wise, that's kind of what I'd be doing. And beyond that, on straight bets, I'm not going to touch this game. I'm not sure who's going to win, and I could see it going a couple different ways. The stats and are a little bit curious because they're close in some respects, but then there's other respects where there's a little separation. So it's a hard one to pin with your money.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
What's your angle on this? You got any angles on it?
So I think that we're going to know who's going to win this game within the first couple drives. I think the first couple drives is going to tell us exactly how this game's going to go. I mean, are the Commanders going to – if the Commanders get out to a quick lead, to an early lead, maybe 10 points, that's their key. The Commanders have to start quick. They played last week. They're hot. They haven't rested. Could work to their disadvantage as well, but the Lions are well rested. Could work towards them as well. But the Commanders, man, if they had come out hot and they could really get up like 10, 14 points, it's probably not going to happen. But like you were saying, the Lions' passing defense is not very good. So if the Commanders can come out firing, they go up a couple scores, take the Lions' run game out of it, and force the Lions to pass the football against their strength, which is, the Commanders' strength as the passing defense. If you could force the Lions to have to pass the football, probably have a better chance. But Goff has looked so good this year that I don't really know if the Commanders' defense can still, even though they have the number 3 passing defense, it just kind of depends on what Goff shows up as well. Do we get a Jared Goff that throws 5 interceptions versus the Texans, or a perfect pass rating through 3 weeks versus some really good defenses on top of that? And, the Commanders have to get to a strong lead. They have to start up. They have to come out firing. If they don't, if the Lions come out and they come out firing, the Commanders start sluggish, I don't think the Commanders have a chance because of that run defense. I think the Lions can keep themselves in this game just because of their run game alone and how the Commanders' run defense is. But you don't want to run the ball too much when you're down multiple scores. You're running that football, you're chewing that clock, you're helping the Commanders at that point. So I think the Lions, if they could get out to that quick lead, if the Lions get out early, the Commanders start slow, that's probably game. Because like you were saying, that Lions run game, so difficult to stop. But if Jared Goff has one of those games, even when their run game is doing well, if Jared Goff throws 2-3 interceptions, can you count on that Lions passing defense to stop Jaden Daniels? And one thing I want to bring up is last week. Remember when we were talking about last week about Baker Mayfield and Jaden Daniels and the playoff experience and this and that? Well, that didn't seem like it mattered to Jaden Daniels. I mean, last 2 minutes of the game, drove him down the field, kicked a field goal. Now, that could be another very important topic of discussion for this game as well, field goals, which we'll talk about this in another game later on as well. The field goals could be the big difference. Do you miss an extra point? Do you miss a field goal? That 1 point, those 3 points in a playoff game, they're that much bigger. So, with the kicker last week, I think Gonzalez was his name. I don't remember. I'm blanking on his name, but he hit the doink. He had the doink. So does that affect his confidence coming this week? Could that be in the back of his head?
Sure, and I think your point when you talk about a team getting off to an early lead is going to be very important for the Commanders and the Texans in the other game. If they can come out and get that early lead, that really changes the complexity of the game and what the other team needs to do. It makes them one-dimensional, and that can give you an advantage there. And then the turnovers are just going to be huge. It always is in these playoff games. The Commanders' pass defense is good enough to get an interception or two against Goff. They really are. And if, say, the Lions do cough up the ball when they're running, they fumble or something like that, the Commanders get them there, and they can force the Lions into passing more, and then that pass defense, they can lean on that pass defense. They get the Lions in a tricky situation there where they end up, trying to press, getting a turnover. That's how the Commanders can win this game. You get off to that early lead with a turnover or something like that, and you get the snowball rolling downhill. And and I do think this game, no matter what, will be close. Now, if somebody's going to blow somebody out, I'm taking the Lions for sure. But something's just telling me that the Commanders they're like one of those quirky, tricky teams that they're just going to be a tough out.
Yep.
They played last week. The Lions weren't. I think there's a chance that they can come out, get that early lead, and really, put the Lions in a place where they're stressing out a little bit. So I hope it's a good game. I really do. We'll see what happens. And yeah, Commanders an interesting team. I like Jaden Daniels, and it says Scary Terry McLaurin's he's an Indiana kid. He come from this area, and he's been straight clutch ever since he was in high school. Man, he is unstoppable. Until that guy gets old and slows down, good luck covering him. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that one.
All right, on to the second